We are at Kumo Tires, starting the day off picking up some fresh tires for this weekend, and I'm also picking up some 285s for the Brat Bunny. We're gonna be set for this weekend. We're doing a bunch of different tire sizes to also try out. I'm getting the same PS91 compound as always for drifting, and that's exactly what I've been running on the Barbie car in Florida, and I got that for drifting this weekend as well. Wow, you guys have already loaded it up. That was so fast. Thank you so much. I'm prepping the Vert for a track day, which now is in 2 days. Now we've had Adam's S13 here, and he's made a ton of progress on that car. Meanwhile, I've kind of been freaking out because I've been waiting for parts to do anything that I need to do for the Vert, and we've just been running into shipping problems. And it really sucks. There are two main things that I wanted to have done on the car before the next track day at Grange, and that was one, have a dual caliper hydro setup on it, and two, do a true coilover conversion with my BC Racing coilovers that I have on my Barbie 350Z in Florida. Now both of them, shipping has been delayed. One of them weirdly got routed to San Francisco because they thought I moved. It's just been some weird stuff going on. It's a little stressful, so just letting you guys know, what's been going on. Luckily, while we've been waiting for parts for my car over the past couple days, Adam's been able to make a lot of headway on the S13. That way, the next 24 hours, we can basically just have all hands on deck for my car. This was my full order, and everything fit perfectly in the bed of the truck. I also ended up grabbing my 285s for the Brat Bunny that I actually forgot that I had there. So there's some 285s in here if you end up seeing that. But thank you again to Kumo Tire, always coming through with that Kumo drip, and now we are definitely set for this weekend. Also, can I just point out my two RX-7s right now? Hold up, I have to give you the view. I have to give you the full view because they're just lined up and looking pretty outside the shop right now. Oh, there's Sailor 7. We got the last replaced, as you can tell. But they look so good next to each other. And honestly, Adam's car looks so good with all my cars too. You think we built them as a team now. And the more I put pink and neon yellow on his car, the more it's becoming a part of the plan here. So they look so good next to each other. Before I get into the main part for today's video, I do have a few more 3-rotor updates for you. I started filming yesterday, and then I just stopped because we were waiting on a lot of parts, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna put the updates in another video because there were just a couple small things I was able to get done. One of them being the clutch line. So initially we were gonna have this hard lined, but for the sake of saving time, we just decided to get a separate line for it. The plan initially, it was gonna be hard lined and routed through the inside just to clean up a lot of the bay area, but for now this worked. So I was able to pick up the clutch line, and I'm actually running an internal hydro clutch setup from Clutch Masters, so it's in the bell housing right there. There are two, I don't know if you can see it, there are two lines. One of them is a bleeder, and then one of them runs to the master, so I just was able to throw that line in there, so we are covered for the clutch. And I was able to put in the fuel pressure sensor with a gauge as well. And this was already wired up and just waiting to be connected. Making progress. One thing though that we were not able to figure out is the brake situation. You know, I mentioned we were having some trouble bleeding the brakes. We actually saved it to do the next day in my last video. And when we started bleeding them, everything was bleeding except for the passenger rear caliper. We just could not get the rear passenger caliper to bleed whatsoever. I used a bleeder that hooked up to the compressor. I was just sitting there like pumping for hours. I feel like I'm gonna have a lot of lead gains from that lead workout that I did trying to bleed these things. And I know hard lines are a little bit more difficult to initially just get set up and bled right, but I swear we were trying everything and we just could not get the rear caliper to bleed. And I know the caliper is good. It was working before and there's no reason why it should just not be working now. We're thinking maybe it has something to do with the bias adjuster there and the hard lines, making it a little bit more complicated, but we spent a lot of time on that and just couldn't figure it out. So Richie, who did all the hard lines, is just gonna come over and help us sort through that. This is the first time that I've had a bias adjuster in one of my cars, which is awesome. At least one of the cars that I'm building. This is normal to have on race cars, and I had this in the GRC car, but with it hard lined and everything, we just decided to wait for Richie to take a closer look at that. That is a 3-rotor update. Honestly, the brakes are the last thing right now, I think, and then we're moving it to Abel's for final checkup and dyno, which is at his place as well. We are getting so close here. Also, who likes the new Sailor Moon banner? Yes. Shout out Kamikaze Girls. Love it. Okay, so I mentioned we've been struggling with my car, just waiting on parts, but good news is that Adam's like basically transformed this car in the past 2 days, was able to focus on this. So what, you got a new exhaust, new front suspension, aligned it, what else? Oh, you fixed the idle thing with ECU reset. What else?
New radiator, new cooling stuff.
Yep.
Rewiring.
Oil change.
Oil change. Ride height.
Oh, a whole new rear setup with duct tape.
I'm trying to think what else.
And zip ties.
A lot of stuff.
A lot of stuff. That's the good news. And then now his car is almost completely ready for the track, and then we can do all hands on deck for my car. So, of course, I have the problem child. So this wheel has a bunch of play. The axle on the other side was the one that we noticed was messed up at the track. However, this side has a ton of play. We'll stare to see what we find once we take this wheel off, but we just noticed there's a ton of play now. So hopefully there's not a lot of damage. That's bad.
Yeah.
No, put your hand in there. You can just move it with your fingers. You can twist it with your fingers, and we have it. Yeah, no, you can literally look. I'm spinning it. I'm spinning the nut right now with my fingers. It was never tight.
This is all fun and games until your hub's messed up. So let's tighten it and make sure your hub's not messed up. Because if we can find you some hubs, that might be a tricky one. You got 4-inch spacers on there. This is new. I've never seen this before.
Yeah, that's the only option.
What the f is going on here? Oh. What?
That looks like it was probably clearance when he had it slammed on. I don't know why, but maybe. That's a cut mark. That's not like a...
Yeah, but what went there?
Oh, lovers. Slam boy things.
What the?
Two cuts to make clearance for something. I don't know if when it was super slammed, it touched some part.
Think about the wheel with it.
I don't know. Who knows what happens when you're that low, man? It's a whole different world.
It would make sense if you like clearance here, right? Because that's where the arm needs to go up. Yeah. All right. Well, let's get this off.
That's crazy though.
And then tighten this and make sure your hub's good before we do anything else.
Okay.
We should have bolt check.
Yeah, that's not a common thing to bolt check.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
The axle nut tight. No. Luckily the hub is not damaged, so we are good. I almost had a heart attack thinking that it was, but we are set, so now we can just swap in the axles, which I don't know if I mentioned that I'm just going to be changing both of them because we found out they're not the OEM ones, so probably some cheap aftermarket ones, and we're going to make sure we have the strong stuff on there. I'm hoping it's not the diff that is messed up right now. Adam took a look at it and says that it shouldn't be. Fingers crossed it's just the axles, but just in case, and just to future-proof anything else that might go wrong, we do have another diff that we got. We were able to find an open diff and have it welded by Sheldon, so huge shout out and thank you hooked it up, found this diff, and welded it. So just in case something's wrong with the diff, I have another welded one on deck. I found some stock axles locally, so I'm just gonna be throwing both of these on and crossing my fingers.
Hey, talk about how reman axles suck and OEM is the way to go. Seriously.
Well, you're the one that has experience with this, so.
No, it's a
Don't buy. Don't put me on this, but
Don't buy them?
don't buy them.
it's a commonly known thing.
What, reman axles being
Reman
bad?
axles will buy a reman one and they'll instantly start clicking your brake like within the next couple of events.
So that's what these are, right?
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
'Cause
Which,
that failure that you have on the other side, which we'll show them, like I've never seen that before. Dude, the inside of the axle has like an inch of play.
This one?
On the other
Yeah.
side of the wheel, yeah.
yeah, it's bad.
Like inside the CV.
Which, when I got the car, I
Like, turn the
I
wheel.
didn't
Like, the
check,
wheel actually
and
has
I
slack.
just didn't assume that the
There's
axles
slack in the axle.
might be
Oh, wow.
cheaper reman ones, but we found out now that they were.
Yeah, it's crazy.
All the play in it.
Yeah.
I've never seen that before.
Yeah, it like goes up and down about an inch. Like Adam said, just don't buy reman axles apparently if you're trying to go drifting. Find used stock ones. Or just ever. Okay, never buy them, he says. Luckily I was able to find these locally. They're in good condition and I'm gonna throw these on and hopefully my rear problems will be fixed. Some stock ones, and we did confirm that the diff is not the problem. So look, let's see if each side moves together, and boom, she is welded, you guys. So that's a relief, because that was one of the bigger things I was worried about. Not only having to replace the axles, but the diff as well. I'm still happy that I have a backup just in case, especially since apparently it's getting harder and harder to find open 350Z diffs to then get them welded because of they're in demand. So thank you again to Sheldon for finding me one and welding it. I was able to take the remans out without moving the exhaust or disconnecting any end links or anything. However, these are a little bit more of a pain to put back in, so we may have to disconnect some things and move it out of the way. I'm gonna still look at it and see if I can get away with not doing that, but I might have to. Just loading up cars now and packing up for the night, but at least we got the new, or old I should say, axles back on. Full house tonight, tucking all the cars in, got the 350 on the lift, ready for everything we have to do tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be a very busy day. The aesthetic of this garage makes me so happy. Oh, I love it. I love it.